Have you ever felt like you were not alone when you should be alone? Most of us have felt it at least once. That moment when the forest suddenly gets too quiet. The birds stop. The wind drops. Even the insects seem to hold their breath. You tell yourself it's nothing, just your imagination, just the way the trees block the sound. But deep down, you know something's watching. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about a night when that feeling wasn't imagination. When 4 people went into the woods for what was supposed to be an ordinary backpacking trip and came out with a story they still don't like to tell in the daylight. This isn't about footprints or blurry photos. This is about what they heard, what they smelled, and what they saw, close enough to touch, before everything they thought they understood about the world turned upside down. So if you're sitting by a fire or lying in bed with the lights low, maybe check the windows first, because this one still makes the hair stand up on the back of my neck. Here's what really happened. The night of July 12th, 2023, in the Salmon Huckleberry Wilderness. When something very large, very quiet, and very real decided to step out of the shadows. Now, let me take you back to the trailhead, just as the sun was bleeding out behind the ridge. Slowly. Did you hear that? Oh, well, probably nothing. Let's get on with the story of our compatriots. The 4 of them, Jake, Mia, Carlos, and Sarah, pulled into the gravel turnout off Highway 35 just before noon on July 12, 2023. The Salmon Huckleberry Wilderness stretched out ahead like a green wall, ancient Douglas firs and hemlocks swallowing the light. They were experienced enough, mid-20s, solid gear, a 3-day loop planned along the old Salmon River Trail and up toward Devil's Peak. Nothing extreme, just a reset from city noise. They shouldered packs heavy with summer weight. Freeze-dried meals, a couple bottles of whiskey for the last night, bug spray that wouldn't work anyway, and started down the trail. The first few miles were easy. Sunlight dappled through the canopy. The Salmon River rushed cold and clear off to their left, moss thick on every rock and fallen log. They laughed, took photos, complained about mosquitoes. Classic backpacker stuff. By late afternoon, the trail climbed, the air cooled, and the forest grew denser. The trees closed in, massive old-growth trunks, some 8 feet across, roots like twisted fingers gripping the earth. The light turned green-gold, then gray, as clouds rolled in off the mountain. They found a flat spot near a small creek around 6 p.m., dropped packs, and set up camp. 2 tents, a small fire pit. Dinner was rehydrated chili and instant coffee. As dusk settled, the conversation turned to the usual, bear stories, that one creepy noise everyone swears they heard once, Sasquatch jokes. Jake, the loudest skeptic, did his best monster impression. Row growl, arms raised, until Sarah threw a pine cone at him. They crawled into tents just after 10. The fire popped down to embers. The creek murmured. For a while, everything felt right. Around 1:17 a.m., Carlos later checked his watch obsessively. The quiet changed, not gradual, instant. No crickets, no breeze, no water sound, even though the creek was 20 feet away. The kind of silence that presses on your eardrums. Mia woke first. She sat up in the tent, heart thudding, and whispered to Sarah, "Do you feel that?" Sarah did. Something heavy moving. Not footsteps exactly, more like weight shifting through underbrush, deliberate, careful. Then a branch snapped. Not a twig, a thick one, the kind you'd need 2 hands to break. They lay frozen, listening. It circled, slowly, maybe 30 yards out, maybe less. They couldn't tell direction anymore. The sound would come from the left, then behind, then right again, never hurried, never careless. Then the smell hit. Wet fur, musk. Something like a wet dog crossed with a barn full of hay and a faint coppery tang. It rolled into camp on an invisible current, thick enough to taste. Jake unzipped his tent fly an inch, just enough to peer out. Headlamp off. He didn't want to give away position. Moonlight filtered weak through the canopy. He saw nothing at first, then movement. A shape. Tall. Too tall. Wider than any person should be. It stood motionless between 2 cedars, maybe 40 feet away, half hidden by fog that had crept in while they slept. Shoulders sloped, arms long, head turned slightly, as if listening back at them. Jake's breath caught. He didn't believe in this stuff. He still doesn't, he says, but he couldn't move. The thing took 1 step forward. The ground didn't shake, it just accepted the weight. Another step. Closer now. The smell intensified. Carlos in the other tent finally, "What the hell is that?" That was enough. The shape stopped, head tilted. Then it made a sound. Not a roar, not a scream. A low, rolling vocalization. Part growl, part sigh, rising and falling like someone trying to speak underwater. It lasted maybe 5 seconds, long enough for every hair on 4 bodies to stand straight. Then it turned. Not rushed, just pivoted, and walked back into the dark. They didn't sleep again that night. At first light, they broke camp fast. No breakfast, no coffee. Packs on, trail underfoot, moving downhill like they were being chased. They didn't talk much until they hit the car hours later. None of them have gone back to that exact spot. They still backpack. They still laugh about it sometimes, nervously. But they check the trees more often now. They listen harder when the forest goes quiet. And every once in a while, one of them will catch that smell again. On a rainy day, near a river, in someone's wet wool jacket, and freeze. Because part of them knows it wasn't imagination. It was real. And it knew they were there.